Turn on my camera. Hi, everyone. I hope you guys have had a good week. So while we're waiting on Jay, I will just talk about my Maryville. Um, we'll just talk about my weekend in Atlanta for both the Bloom conference and the Free Hive conference. I will just say this. If you guys aren't following me on Instagram, please go follow me on Instagram because I'm trying to rebuild my Instagram. Y'all know that I love Facebook. But obviously, while I was at this event, no one asked me for a business card. No one asked me anything other than what's your Instagram handle. I mean, probably 7,000 people asked me what my Instagram handle was. And so, with that said, I'm going to tell you guys a secret that in the beginning of my business, I knew how important it was to have a large social media following, and I was completely oblivious of how to do it. So what I did is I hired a firm that could grow my Instagram organically. And what I later found out is I was so excited because they were getting me all these new followers. And every day I would have like 30 to 40, 50 new followers on Instagram. But then after time went by, I realized that these followers weren't interacting with me at all. And then after I hired my team of VAs, the first thing that my social media strategist said to me was, Brittany, 90% of these followers are not real. So if you follow me on Instagram, you've seen I went from 26,000 followers recently to now I'm down to 16,000 because we have literally been going in every single day and deleting hundreds of fake or bot followers because the company that said they were going to organically grow my Instagram were really just adding fake and bot followers, which crushed and absolutely killed and annihilated my my Instagram, like where I get no interaction and it just really killed the people that actually followed me. So we're trying to rebuild it and I'm going to be showing up on Instagram more. It's not my drug of choice, not my favorite place to be. I love Facebook, but I'm going to be doing more over there because I do realize that the younger generation, can't believe I'm even saying that. So old right now. The younger generation really lives and loves Instagram. And it is now like that's your business card. Your Instagram is your resume. And so follow me on Instagram. We have an amazing guest today. Welcome, Jay Hackett. We're so glad you're here. Let me go ahead and start recording. Um,
This meeting is being
Thank you for
recorded.
joining us in the Big Boss Society. I know everyone is super, super excited to have you. If you guys don't know who Jay is, he is an amazing entrepreneur. Way before the whole grant thing even gets started, he's a business owner. He is successful. He is a man of God. He is a good guy, and we're super excited to have him in here to pour into us tonight. So thank you, Jay, for joining us in the Big Boss Society. I think you're muted.
And I just already started talking. I say, thanks for having
You're
me.
fine. I do it all the time.
It's great to be here and be able to share with y'all. Yeah, it was good to see you. It was so cool to see you this
It was good
weekend.
to see you too. I was telling them we had a time in Atlanta.
Yes, we had a good old. It was crazy.
I tell
I
y'all
like.
what,
I'm gonna sleep when I get home.
every time I go out of town to one of these conferences, at some point someone gets a video of me shaking my butt. And it circulates through the internet
Right.
and people think that I'm not working. We just like to we work and then we have a good time after we work,
We do, we
right?
do. I thought it was only one video, but I didn't know you were at the pool party too.
They're
And
they're everywhere. There's videos of me dancing everywhere. I think that everyone in the Free Hive just keeps them in their phone as blackmail in case for the future that they need it. But I had a great time. It was so good to see everyone. It's always so empowering to be around other entrepreneurs because a lot of us live in places where we're kind of isolated or alone and everyone is normal and we're crazy. And
yeah,
so it's nice to be in a big group of people who kind of think bigger. It really gives you kind of that juice to come back home and get back to work. I know my flight landed at midnight And then I was in the office the next morning at 7 a.m. ready to go. I was just so excited for the future. So I don't want to cut into a whole bunch of your time. I want you to be able to talk to everyone. So I'm just going to mute. I'm going to let you
Mhm.
take the mic and, pour into everyone. And again, thank you for being here.
All right, all right. Well, hey, good afternoon, good evening, good day, y'all, wherever you are in the world. As a matter of fact, if y'all can just in the comments, let me know where you are in the world. That'll help me kind of place you. All right. And I know that some folks are multitasking, but whenever it's possible, it's good to share your face because we do so much in the virtual world. It's really easy. Black Mountain, okay, all right. Because they do so much in the virtual world, is it's easy as Brittany said to feel isolated. But at least when, all right, Charlotte, Asheville, this is good. Um, whenever it's possible, it's good for you to be able to connect with folks. All right. Now, for anybody that's local to Asheville or within driving distance, there is going to be, of course, our festival is this weekend, Grind Fest. It's the celebration of BIPOC businesses and entrepreneurs. So it's going to be all types of people from all over. We're going to have carnival rides and everything. People are coming from everywhere to have a good time, vendors and everything from local places. But especially on Friday, funding sources are going to be here. Funding sources are going to be here at my social enterprise and nonprofit summit. So grants, some people don't know that for-profit companies can get grants, and that banks are not the only places that can give loans. There are things called impact funds, where a foundation like Dogwood can actually give you a loan that's so much better than a bank can. Organizations like Mountain BizWorks, and even there are some organizations in Brittany's area that can do their CDFIs, and they can do loans that are better than any bank that you can think of. And a lot of these loans need zero collateral. So I'm going to go into some of that tonight. But if any of you want to come, the price is $149, but I'll make it free to everybody in the Big Boss Society. So if you feel like coming, you'll just have to message me to get the link, and you can.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. That's Friday from 10 until 4. Breakfast is going to be served at 9:30, so get there ahead of time. Dogwood Health Trust is going to be there. Truist Bank is going to be there. Lenore Ryan is going to be there. Zedek Foundation is going to be there. Who else? CoThink is going to be there. And these are all places that do non-conventional grants. So these folks can do grants to individuals, grants to for-profits. As a matter of fact, Zedek Foundation gives a grant. Get this, y'all. They give a grant for work that you've already done, just to recognize you for what you've already done. You can nominate yourself or somebody else, and spread the word. Now, you can spread the word. Other people won't get in free. Big Boss Society will. But that's Friday from 10 to 4. All right.
And that is going to be at the Black Wall Street building.
Yep, at the Black Wall Street,
I
inside
just
the
put it on my calendar because I will be gone over the weekend. But I'm definitely going to be there Friday.
Okay. All right. Yep. Right there at the Black Wall Street building at 8 River Arts Place. And anybody that's in for the weekend, you'll be able to come to the carnival and everything. So it's going to be fun. All right. So I've got a good sense of where you all are in the country and the world. And what I want to talk about whenever you're an entrepreneur, of course, you're drawn to people because of the messaging that you put out. All right. So the messaging that you put out is what draws people to you. The messaging, when you know that your messaging is on point, when even though you're working, you're getting strength from it. All right. So like time flies when you're having fun. So work, it is going to take energy. It is going to take time. It is going to take money. But at the end of the day, you might feel depleted from the work. And you kind of you'll either feel like, man, I'm depleted and I'm never doing that again. Or you feel depleted and you're like, yes, I did that today. Like, do y'all remember that day that Brittany was trying to eat and she couldn't eat? And she was like, man, I'm getting ready to go get something to eat and didn't go get something to eat. Something happened and you had to go by the location. You're like, it's 5:30 and I still haven't gotten anything to eat. And then it was like later that night and the family was like grabbing something to eat. You know what I'm saying? And then she was back at work. Like that kind of thing is normal. All right. And when you're around other entrepreneurs like this in the Big Boss Society, you're able to realize like this is the work. But at the end of the day, you're not aggravated. At the end of the day, you know that you're with the right people because even though you're depleted, you're like, man, I did that and I'm ready for round 2 tomorrow. All right. As it is in the for-profit world, so it is in the world of grants and nonprofits. You know that you are serving in the right way when the people that you're helping, like it really comes from the heart. And most of the time, the work that you're doing, even though it is for-profit work, you're probably doing it with a nonprofit heart. It is for-profit work, but you're doing it because somebody has a problem. Is bringing a solution to somebody. And so most of the time, people look at their for-profit work only as for-profit. And what I want you to know is that even though you are in a for-profit industry, there is a nonprofit side to it. Walmart, for example, has a foundation. Coca-Cola, the largest company in the world, has a foundation. Most, if not all, of the largest companies on the planet also have a foundation. So you can't have one side without the other. Now, the idea of foundations came from like during the turn of the century when the like in the Industrial Revolution, yeah, the Rockefellers and the Morgans and all of that, those like big families that created everything. And people say like these 5 families rule the world or whatever, like those super rich people and the Vanderbilts. What they did, they were making so much money that it was no longer popular to compete for who can make the most money. They actually started to compete based on who could give the most money. And that's where philanthropic giving really became popular. All right. So they started to give and they got popular because they were giving. They started to help the less fortunate. Now, some will say they did it for clout, they did it for notoriety or whatever. But I believe that money is where your heart is, and you're not just going to give away your money if you don't care about something, right? And also, I really don't care why you're giving me the money. If I'm hungry and I need something to eat, I appreciate you giving me something to eat. You get what I'm saying? And if you, while you're on your way up as a growing entrepreneur, may be frustrated with things that have gone on in your past, maybe there's a nonprofit side to what you do as well. And so I want to talk to you about grants for profits and how for-profit companies can participate in the grant world. So some of the grants that are available for for-profit companies, especially if you're in North Carolina, there's a grant right now that's available that has no deadline. And if y'all want it, y'all gonna have to really just let me know. I've got to teach another class tonight, so y'all gonna have to keep me awake. And I want all the Big Boss energy. If you want it, say ready, 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 ready. All right, all right, all right. So there's a grant that's available for for-profit companies. I won this grant 4 times, and they recently asked me to be on a committee to evaluate grant proposals. Now, I'm not going to give you any inside track once I'm on the committee, but I'm not on the committee yet. All right. So this organization is called the NC Idea Foundation. NC Idea Foundation. That's NCIDEA.org. NC Idea Foundation. And the grant that they have they have a lot of grants. Some of them are for brand new ideas. Some of them, NC Idea Foundation. Some of them are for brand new ideas. Some of them are for startups. Some of them are especially for minority-owned businesses. And this one particular grant that has no deadline, it is $5,000 if you want to do an event. So if you're doing an event and that event is going to, yes, yeah, it's $5,000. Matter of fact, I think Brittany should do that one. What do y'all think?
I've got an event that I'm planning right now.
Yes. You don't have to invite me to the event to get a grant, but
You're invited.
Yes, it's called the Emerge Grant with NC Idea Foundation. That one is only for North Carolina people. Yes, that one is only for North Carolina people. All right. And because I'm going to be on the committee, do not reference me in the application, because I don't want them to think, you know. Now, this is what happens when you know people. You don't mess up relationships, y'all. Okay. Don't mess relationships. When somebody give you inside track, you got to know how to handle it. All right. And keep it to yourself. Do what you got to do, and make sure it's still available next go round. All right. So with that application, all you have to do is going to ask for your standard information, but with the Emerge grant, it's going to ask you, it's going to ask you what you're doing for the entrepreneurial community. This foundation is there to help businesses grow. So although you might sell things to people, if you take it a step farther, you're actually helping that business. All right, let's look at Brittany's company, for example. I Need a VA. All right, so Brittany is your coach, and she's helping you grow your business. So you don't only want to look at what she says, you want to actually model and mimic what she does. And so you see, I Need a VA. She could sell the VA service to people, which is one thing. But when you pay for proximity and you're coming in closer, she actually begins to show you the science of how to do it for yourself. VA services help. They help because you don't have to spend as much money hiring. You don't have to spend as much money hiring people for American wage when the American dollar goes much farther in another country, and you can actually help more than one person. So if I were writing the Emerge grant for an event, I would say that I provide capacity building for entrepreneurs. I provide capacity for entrepreneurs. I show them how to get more done with less time. I'm doing an event that's going to bring them together and help them make more money. I'm going to introduce them to people and partners that can help them increase their revenue. I'm bringing them together so if they create revenue, they can create more jobs. All right. So you see the language is different. You're not just saying, I'm doing an event so that people can have a good time. No, I'm doing events so that people can grow their business, increase revenue, create jobs. When you're creating jobs, that's considered economic development. It's perfectly fine to say you're helping other companies grow their revenue. Matter of fact, if you all could just type into the box, what types of industries are you in? Everybody might be in a different industry, or you might be in the same industry but approaching a different way. What industries are you in? Okay. Real estate, that's one industry. All right. If we take real estate as an example, remodeling, janitorial, okay. All right. General contractor, home remodeling. All right. Reiki, energy work, trauma release. Okay. All right. So let's start with real estate. Real estate is when somebody's buying a house. So the nonprofit side of that, well, if you were doing an event, for example, you could do an event that's specifically designed to help people get ready to buy a house. So you invite lenders, and if it were me doing a home buying summit, I would actually prioritize one bank. Now, all of these banks, they have mortgage products. And depending on where you are, I would actually shop it around. I would let the banks be sponsors and let your sponsorship be maybe 10 or $5,000 as a top tier sponsor. And I would have a home buying summit that prepares people to buy a house. And all you need is one lender. Why do you think the lender wants to be there? Why do you think the lender wants to be there? Yeah, so that they can get business. So a bank is going to make thousands and thousands of dollars off of one person. They don't mind giving you $5,000 or $10,000 when they're going to make $50,000 and $100,000 off of a mortgage. They have no problem giving you money now because they're going to get money long term, money over time. They're going to get money later. All right. All right. So when we think about your business, think about what you're doing to solve a problem for people. Not only do you want you want the lender there, but maybe you want programs that help people with down payments. So there are local nonprofits that can help with down payments. All right. So for that type of event, what you want to do is create a sponsorship form. You create a sponsorship form that that allows people to put their logo on it to come to the event. For example, the nonprofit summit that you all are coming to, the way that we were able to get it paid for, the way that we were able to get it covered and it not come out of our personal pockets is through sponsorships. We have about 40 different companies that are sponsoring. And every day companies are asking, can I sponsor? Can I be there? Can I get a table? Can you put my logo on it? Can I present? Can I talk? Because they want to be in front of the people. All right. Let me look at another one. Let me look at another one. Janitorial. If you do janitorial, you want to think about what type of janitorial work you do. So if you decide to do an event, you want to think like if you do janitorial for businesses, maybe you want to do an event about clean energy for businesses or cleaning products for businesses, or maybe how businesses can organize their offices, how people can prevent waste or how people can recycle. So you do something that's on the circumference of what you do and it brings your customers. You need something that brings your customers. What are they, what do they care about? What are they interested in? And then while your customers are there, you introduce something to them. So while you're thinking about your customer, you don't only want to look at the frequently asked questions that they have about your business. You want to look at the questions that they ask in general. What is a pain point for all of them? So if you look at Brittany as a model, if you look at Brittany's company as a model, you know that she has a few different companies with Bettini Enterprises. You know that she has a janitorial company. You also know that she's great at customer service. So when you think about it, customer service actually applies to everything. So it's a natural progression when she has VAs, because VAs provide customer service. That's one way to think about how you can solve the problem that your customers have. They might not be your customers now, but you know that they have a certain problem. All right. So with janitorial, you know they have a building, you know they need somebody to clean it. So they probably have staff, they probably have a location. There are things that they need, and you know they need it. You just need a reason for all of them to come together. Now, when you look at the PR side of it, especially for those that have been to a PR boot camp, you want to think about how you can put yourself where those people care. All right. The information that Brittany gave me last week when I clicked in was from my software to be featured in technology spaces. If I go to technology spaces, that's going to give me a platform, and it's going to give me clout and notoriety so that other people will chip in and will catch on. And they'll be like, oh, well, if the technology people recognize him in the technology space, then I'm willing to give it a try. Brittany said a building services fair. Yes, hold it, a building services fair, and you can invite whoever you want to invite, but you'll be featured. And when everybody registers, you'll have their email. All right. So you want to think about where your people are looking. What do they care about? All right. So that's if you're doing an event. No matter what industry you're in, you can do some type of event. No matter what industry you're in, you can do some type of event. And when you do an event, just like the Dove Awards, the Emmy Awards, the Grammy Awards, just like anything else, you need sponsors. This way you can cover all the expenses and not come out of pocket. All right. Anybody have any questions about that strategy? Okay. So Next, let's talk about grants for for-profit agencies. Grants for for-profit agencies. There are more grants for nonprofits than there are for for-profits. That is a true fact. All right, more grants available for nonprofits than there are for for-profits. However, there are grants available for for-profits. NCIDEA is one organization that does give grants to for-profits. And they give what's called competitive grants. Competitive grants are where you're actually your application is in competition with somebody else's. That's a competitive grant. All right. The other there are other grants that you can apply for, like the Emerge grant that I told you about. That one's not competitive. You're not competing against anybody else. All right. So another organization that gives grants is the Kauffman Foundation. They give grants to for-profit entities. Kauffman. Kauffman Foundation. Kauffman. All right, that's Kauffman Foundation. All right. Okay. Now, I'll give you another year-round grant. Another grant that's available for for-profit companies. For-profit companies called the Corning Foundation. Corning. Corning Foundation. All right. Corning. All right. So there's a grant that's it was due Sunday, and it was it Verizon? As a matter of fact, Ashley, I mean not Ashley, Brittany, I did this grant when I was at the table. I have a software that writes grants for you, but it's not AI. My software is actually real life people. So all the grants that are in there are grants that have been written and awarded. And so whenever this grant goes in, it's because I've actually written the grant. All right. It was due on Sunday. All right. So there are other grants. Another grant that's available to you is called the Beckman Coulter Foundation. Beckman, Beckman Coulter. All right, Beckman Coulter Foundation. All right, so when you're looking for grants, when you're looking for grants for for-profit companies, and anybody, I have a free ebook for grants. It's on my website, hackit2k.com. If you want the free ebook on grants, it actually has 100 grants listed in the back. And I don't want to get into naming a whole bunch of grants because at any given time, there are at least 140,000 organizations that are putting out grants each year. All right. So you can get the free ebook, and at the back of it has grants that are available. All right. So when you're writing a for-profit grant, typically what they're interested in is creating jobs, but they want to know the story of the founder. They want to know your story.
Can I ask a question right here?
Yes.
How important, because I do press, and does the founder having a solid reputation in press affect the eligibility or the odds of getting awarded? Do they do research what you write?
Yes. So your public presence means everything. It is more valuable. Now, this is recorded. There are some things I say that are super duper behind the scenes. It's okay. You don't have to stop recording. I know how to talk.
It's all only for Big Boss Society members anyway. You can't get these recordings if you're not in here.
All right. So your online presence is big. Like your story is big and it has to be consistent. All right. So if you pick a platform, pick it. And when people Foundations, it doesn't affect your eligibility, but it does affect whether they give it to you or not. Now I'm going to tell you exactly how. There are foundations that have money and they are required to give it away, but they can only give it away based on certain factors. And when they look you up, they need to see something about that cause. All right. So Brittany, for example, she supports Safe Flight, right? So that's very public. It's not private. Now, certainly she cares about everybody, but that's a platform that's near and dear to her heart. So if she were to write a grant, they're going to look up her website. They're going to look, is there anything about Safe Flight here? If she's just a for-profit company asking for a grant, they're going to be like, oh, well, that's just somebody that wants money. But when they see that she has already taken a stance against domestic violence, taking a stance that supports services to people that are homeless or starting over, if there's something that they can link into, or something that they can agree with, then they're more inclined to give her that money. Also, when you're in the nonprofit world, you can actually register for a thing called GuideStar. GuideStar has all of the foundations in the country inside of it. And when it comes tax time, how many of you would like to be somebody's tax write-off? They will go in and they'll just look for a cause and they'll click on your website. And if you have enough stuff that's attractive to them, they'll send you money. I actually, I can't pull up, Lord, I can't pull up the email quickly enough. But I got a call from a person that works at a bank saying, my boss wants to give away money and we need to do it this week. Do you know anybody that's ready to receive this grant? I sent them 3 of my students. 2 of them did not set their website up the way that I told them to set it up. And the one that did not register her company in the new state that she was in. She had already been in one state. And as we tell everybody, if you think that you want to do something in a state, register as a foreign entity there, whether it's for credit purposes or business purposes. So she was actually living in a new state, doing work there, serving there, but she did not, she had not set up her company there as a foreign entity. And so they couldn't give it to her. Out of all 3, none of them got the money, and the bank regretted, but they had to find somebody else. Can you imagine what that feels like? To know that somebody wants to give out the money and your stuff is not prepared. You have to do the thing now so you'll be ready later. Do the thing now. So your online presence really matters. And the more PR you have, the more attractive you are. The more PR you have, the more attractive you are. Whether it's for sponsorships or for grants, people know that when they connect with you, they're connecting with all of your followers, all of your readers, all of the places that you're known. Success breeds more success. Money breeds more money. Problems actually breed more problems too. Foolishness breeds more foolishness. Negativity breeds more negativity. So you want to make sure you stay away from that stuff and go full force, like a whole deep dive into your success plan. Don't leave any stone unturned. Your PR is actually more valuable than the money you have in the bank. If you lose all of the money you have in the bank, your PR can get it back. Ask Oprah. Yeah. So when you think like, okay, what do I spend my money on? You get what I'm saying? Or what do I spend my energy on? There are things that I do right now that make me $0 directly, but because it's out there, it makes me money in the long run. So not only did it happen where that bank, they wanted to give away the money and didn't, but I'm gonna tell you another thing that happened. So I applied for a grant and I did not get the big award. I was one of the finalists. And some people feel like failure is failure. Failure is not failure. All work works. It's either working for you or it's working on you, but it's working. All right. It's either working for you or it's working on you. So I applied for the grant. We were one of the finalists, but we were not awarded. And so, you know how people say, I'm gonna follow up with you. We're gonna connect, blah, blah, blah. I did not have a nasty attitude. I was real cool about it. They followed up and they invited me to speak on a panel. I couldn't make it in person, so I spoke virtually on the panel in Charlotte. It was a whole bunch of department heads. One of them reached out to me on LinkedIn and said, I'd like to talk to you. I found out we were in the same city, so we met at Panera Bread. At the end of that 45-minute conversation, she said, well, is there space for us to sponsor your event? I said, yes. She said, well, I know I can do $10,000 right now. And I can do $5,000 for one of your smaller events. I'm like, oh man, thank you. She said, well, that's just out of my budget because my budget is small. I'm like, huh? She said, I'm just going to give you 10,000 and that's small. And then she said, but you really need to connect with our foundation. So she did an email introduction with the foundation. And at the end of that conversation, the bottom line was that we needed to apply for $250,000 from a whole different department. So here, and then that actually attracted more money. So what if I had never applied for the grant? Or what if I didn't have any public presence? Or what if nobody outside of my local place knew me? Or what if I didn't smile or didn't show up for the event or didn't value my online presence or didn't speak virtually? Like everything counts.
So this happens to me all the time. People ask me why I go speak at events for free. Or like, you mean you're not getting paid to go to there and take your time and you're buying a flight and staying at a hotel and doing all this, but the amount of exposure and clientele, like I signed up one of my fellow speakers for a $5,000 initial fee and a $500 per VA recurring because she wants me to help her recruit for her entire government contracting organization. I mean, I probably indirectly made $100,000 over the weekend.
Yep.
Because I'm willing to do the front end work for free or pay on the front end to get repaid on the back end in a much bigger way.
It's always bigger.
Yeah.
It's always bigger, y'all. And actually some of the guidance that I have received recommends that as a business owner, you should be out and about. Like you need to be known and you want to be in the company of other businesses at least once a month. At least once a month, you should be in a room full of other business owners. These might be people that you can sell to, learn from, collaborate with, et cetera, et cetera. It also keeps your mind fresh and sharp, and you don't get into the employee mindset. Like the people that live around you, like no shade at all. The people that are local to you, the people that live around you, like in that city, those are people that you're serving. Now you can glean from them and learn from them, but that's not necessarily your home base. Your home base has to charge your mind to think bigger so that you can actually go back to your home city and actually introduce bigger things and better things and more efficient things, both not only to your staff and to your employees, but also to your surroundings. All right. If you only see the same, you'll always do the same. So you got to get out there. And what I do with my coach, whatever they do, I do. Wherever they go, I go. Whatever they spend, I spend. And if I can't do it yet, I'm going to leverage what I have until I can. All right. So
One thing you've done, Jay, and I don't mean to keep interrupting, but one thing you've done, and I've heard, is that you have actually found grants that allowed you to invest that money into going to events and hiring coaches to make you better at your business.
Yes. This is called, sometimes it's called a training grant, or it is education, continuing education, or it is called capacity building. All right. So if you are now, remember I mentioned Walmart and how it has a for-profit and a nonprofit. Coca-Cola has a for-profit and a nonprofit. I encourage every entrepreneur that they have their for-profit, but they should also have their nonprofit. At the very least, the nonprofit should be there to educate people on business. All right. And when I write grants, I always include a line item for training and education. Always, 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 always. And then I describe how my training and education has worked. So when I go to conferences, most of the time, if I'm going and I'm paying a fee, that's covered by a grant. The expectation is that I come back and I make my business better. I'm able to hire more people, pay better wages. I'm paying taxes. I'm spending money locally. All right. This is training or education. So inside your businesses, when you're working out your budget, make sure you have a line item for training and education. Okay. And when you go to conferences, you're not just going willy-nilly. You're going to be trained. It's not just for fun. You're going for training. But if you don't plan your budget that way, you won't be able to do it. So think a year ahead of time, just like you plan your social media calendar, just like you might plan your PR strategy, just like you might plan your content days. Plan what conferences you know you want to go to. And if you don't know, then just put something there each month for something. Or if there's a big thing that you know you want to do. And think now about how you're going to apply the information to your business, or are you going to apply that information to helping somebody else do better business? Maybe your client. And you put it in that line item. And then you follow through. Now, the strategies that I'm giving, these might not be popular. They're not popular because they're not known. And they are specific to the industry of grants. But the assumption is that you really are going to do the work. All right. Like you're going to learn and you're going to make something better. Whether you're making your business better, whether you're hiring more people locally, or whether you're serving your clients. This is not hook and crook. This is not like lie about something on an application just to get the money and then disappear. You know what I'm saying? That's not what this is. This is about really honoring what's at the core of your heart. Why are you doing the work that you're doing? It's not only to make a dollar. There's somebody and something that you care about. And I'm telling you directly that grants can help you do that better and not have to use your own money. You don't have to use your business's money. You don't have to use your money out of your pocket. That money that can be covered by grants. All right. The last thing I want to tell you is about impact funding. There are foundations, and we're going to talk specifically about it on Friday at the Nonprofit Summit. And impact funders are going to be there. Impact funding is a brand new thing. Most people, even people in the nonprofit world, don't know about it because it's so new. Impact funding is where an organization receives a grant. Say they receive a grant for $1 million. That grant is designed to be collateral for people that don't have collateral. So if you have a business and you have no collateral, there are organizations that have grants that they will use as collateral for you so that you can get a loan with no credit check and no collateral. Why do you have no collateral? Because they use the grant as collateral. And I'm the recipient of one of those loans. No credit check, no collateral, $50,000. Another one, $60,000.
What do the repayment terms look like on a grant like that?
Now, those two were loans. One of them was no payment for 6 months, interest only for 6 months, and then you start paying after a year. And that payment on the $50,000 is like $450 a month. The $60,000 one, I don't know if I even started paying on it yet. It's all on automated, but it's really low. I haven't even seen it.
He's like,
but yeah.
So for those, and those are in your business's name?
Yes, they're in your for-profit business name. And
Wow.
whoever's in Black Mountain, you definitely need to connect with Mountain BizWorks because they.
Mountain BizWorks is amazing, and they're helping me fund all the things.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And they'll give you much more. Like they can do up to 50,000 with no credit check and no collateral. I was looking, well, yeah, they can do some amazing things. They have publicly talked about a person that came to them for $50,000 and they said, nah, you really need more. They gave them 300,000.
They helped one of my clients purchase a building right on the Acosta Trail. They got the building for $300,000 and it's appraising right now for 2.8 million
See,
because they're building the Acosta Trail right next to it.
this is the amazing stuff that can be done. And y'all, like the outside world, they will never understand why you pay for coaching and why you pay to be in rooms like this. But this single piece of information, this single connection can really change everything about your business. So
I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to all of these foundations. I am joining the Guide Star and I'm putting my VAs to work,
yes,
sending me lists of what I need to apply for and all of that good stuff as soon as possible.
yeah. So I'm gonna stop here. Did anybody have any questions?
Yeah, let's open
About
up for
this or anything?
guys have questions. Now is your opportunity. We don't have a whole lot of time left, so make sure that if you have questions, you ask them now while we have Coach Hackett's very valuable time.
All right. If anybody wants to build buildings, it's actually I'm going to teach this in my class at 8 o'clock. But if anybody wants to build buildings, if you're in real estate and you're into developing buildings, you can contact your local community economic development office, and you're going to ask specifically for home funds. That's HOME. They're spread out all around the country. Every region has them. And their job, they receive money from the federal government, from HUD, Housing and Urban Development, and they give out money so people can build houses that are affordable. Now, if you want to build something that's exclusive, this is not for you. But what they do fund mixed use development. So you can have like 20% affordable and the rest market rate. But there's this developer in Asheville that builds really big things, and they just need to be affordable for 20 years. Well, they just ride the mortgage out for those 20 years. What do you think happens after that 20 years? They go market rate, but the asset is already owned. So you're not thinking short term. You got to think long term. All right.
So how did the home funds work? Do they actually they pay the mortgage, or
they give you a check? So it's about a year-long process. You contact them and you start with their paperwork. They'll get your plans, etc. So every city needs to build more houses, especially where we are, right? Most of your cities have a plan to build more houses to deal with homelessness and blah, blah, blah. So they want to build houses, and they receive money to build more houses. All you have to do is give them your plan and show them that you intend to build more houses. They'll go through with their elected officials, and they'll vote. Just this past month, Asheville approved 4.5 million. That's going to be split between only 4 agencies. And there could have been more. I asked them about a project that I was doing, and I was going to build a duplex that had two units. And they said, well, can you go higher? I said, well, I think I can build maybe 4 units. They said, well, really, could you do 12 if we gave you money? Like that, that's how it is. And these are grants.
through Christ who strengthens us, okay? Okay. I don't know. I'm building one building right or remodeling one building right now, and I'm about to pull my hair out. So maybe not 12.
Right. Well, if they give you the money, you can hire more people. And
Correct.
the way they calculated it for one company is they gave him $25,000 per unit he would build. And then if you actually look at the recording of the city council, they said, well, what else can we give him? Like, that's what they said. They said, what else can we give him?
I need to be in that meeting.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
definitely, if you're interested in building things, especially housing, and you're willing to make it affordable, maybe mixed use, some of it affordable, some of it market rate, your home funds are definitely the play to run.
Now, this is for new build only?
It's the same funding source for renovations. So if you see something you can renovate, but it's for housing, it has to be housing. And your client, if your client's in Buncombe County, well, I know Buncombe County has a tourism fund.
He's in Henderson County on the Acoustic Trail over in Etowah. His build.
Okay. All right. Well,
warehouse.
Y'all have a tourism department as well, and they collect taxes, and those taxes actually are supposed to be used back for the county.
Yeah.
And Buncombe, we have it, and this is the $600,000 grant that we're using for Black Wall Street.
Right.
So your guy can check out, and if you wanted to have one of your VAs look at it for, you just look up the TPDF in Buncombe County and ask for that thing in Henderson County.
So, is literally my next door neighbor to the main event. We actually are going to be using their parking lot for some of our events.
Okay.
And they're going to start using our building for some of their events.
That's good.
So we are literally right next door to travel and tourism. So I've already made some connections over there. So
you know those people, then all you gotta do is ask them for the Henderson County form of the TPDF. I just don't know what it's called in your county. Okay. But it's a tourism product development. It is building and renovating things that are attractive and attracting tourists.
So that's me.
Yeah, money right there.
Literally my building is attracting travel and tourism because we're going to do all sorts of comedy shows, events.
Yeah.
Get on the phone. Tourism, y'all. I'm going to come back and tell you guys about my success tomorrow. Let's see here. When all of you need help in finding these multi-unit properties to renovate with these grant monies, no matter where you live. There you go. Absolutely. We got some real estate people in the room.
All right.
Well, listen, are there any other questions before we let Mr. Hackett go? Speak now or forever hold your peace.
All right, y'all. See you Friday. Anybody that's in town or want to be, go ahead and register. And
give me the link, and I'll drop it in the Big Boss Society so that it's private.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us and pouring into us tonight. I know that everyone caught some gems and is excited to try to get some of that money we don't have to pay back. There's nothing better than money we don't have to pay back. Thank you so much. And if you guys want to connect with Jay Hackett, we will drop his information and along with the recording. I thank you guys for joining us tonight, and you know where to find me. We'll see you next week because Tuesdays are for big bosses, and there will be a new podcast episode and another training next Tuesday as well. So we'll see everyone next week. Thank you again, Jay.
All right. Bye, y'all.
Bye, everyone.